Hey everybody, I'm here with my good friend Renee, aka Estrella, and we're excited to sit down today and just talk about some pretty exciting things that have been happening lately and some pretty exciting things that are happening pretty soon. So I'm glad that we were able to do it this week. As we are recording this, we are just a few days away from the first performance at California Roots Festival. So we're pretty excited to talk about that and how it all came to be and kind of where you grew up and how it all started and kind of what's next. So for those that don't know you, tell us, where you're from, where did you grow up, and how did you get into music?
I am from Salinas, California, born and raised. I've been singing my whole life. I think my first solo was in like kindergarten. And after that, I was singing in church and theater in school, and choirs. And then after that, just kind of kept doing it and then started writing in 2020, 2019.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome. And what were some of those early influences when you were first starting out as an artist yourself?
Um, I mean, going way back, I think Alicia Keys was a major influence for me. Sarah Bareilles, I loved her songwriting.
Hmm.
I also really loved Gwen Stefani. And then as far as like reggae influences went, I love Revolution, Bob Marley. I lived in Hawaii for a long time, so I had the opportunity to have a lot of reggae radio going on and hearing new stuff.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of when you kind of took music a little bit more seriously is when you were in Hawaii. Obviously, there's so much inspiration there, but talk about that transition of how you wound up. You were here in California, grew up here, we're going to college here, and then you were in Hawaii for a couple of years. What was going on there, and
Mhm.
and and how did you get into music scene there?
Gosh, I mean, music always finds me for the most part. I can't escape it, nor do I want to, but I moved to Hawaii. I joined um a organization out there. It was a nonprofit. And I just fell in love and I ended up staying. But as far as music goes, I mean, um I love lovers rock, which is very kind of like Motown inspired, which is music that I grew up on. And I love the community and of reggae music and like what they advocate for. And I just really want to write music with a message. And I felt like I connected mostly to that when I was writing. I got an ukulele when I was out there, and that just really kind of started my journey as far as writing. I've always been singing, and like we were always doing covers and playing in
Right.
places just for the love of it. But once I started writing, I feel like that opened up like a whole new world for me.
Yeah, totally. Well, I've been in music for almost 30 years myself, and I've been around some really talented people, but you're one of the best songwriters that I've ever worked with, whether it was in church or in music. And you really do have a gift for that. And it's hard. People think, it's kind of easy to jam and be a musician. Like, there's levels to it, but most people can pick up an instrument and kind of make some noise. But to write songs is a whole other level because it's so vulnerable and it's so, you can kind of do it any way that you want, but there is kind of a formula and a structure. So to be able to like put your thoughts and put your feelings into a song and it's formatted, you really do have a talent for that. Because some people hire songwriters and they're maybe a good singer. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're writing their own songs. So you do both, which is kind of what makes you unique. When did you kind of know when you went from just singing in choirs to singing your own songs that you kind of something kind of clicked?
I don't know. I think there was a connection that I gained with myself when I started writing music.
Mm,
A lot of my music, my first single, What's Worse, that was really like a very vulnerable part of me because I went the safe route and went to school and got a job and realized I hated it. And I was like, well, why don't I do something that I love? Singing, I love to sing. It brings me joy. I love to perform. And that brings me joy. I'm my most happiest in that moment. And it was a scary thing to pursue. Um, but I did. And there's so many people that believed in me and supported me, like you and Cam and my
yeah.
family. And so, yeah, I mean, just writing like a lot of my songs too, I wrote because I wanted to feel that way. I didn't feel that way and I wanted to feel that way, so I
Mm,
wrote a song that would bring me into that energy.
that's cool. Well,
Hmm.
we grew up going to church and we had that similar background, both half white, half Mexican, had that similar background. So there were so many
Yeah.
like random things that we had in common, some mutual friends that we had in common. And we started hanging out, working together. And then I don't know how it even happened, but just realized that we both kind of like the same music, both knew, we're musical and we were at parties or whatever. We jam, we'd mess around. And all of a sudden it was like, hey, this kind of sounds cool. Like, and I remember at the time I was heavily into promoting different events. God, this was probably
Mhm.
2012, probably around there,
Oh, wow,
11 or
maybe
12.
earlier.
And I had this unique niche kind of into like YouTube singer songwriter acoustic space was kind of what I was drawn to at first before we got deeper into the reggae scene. And I
Hmm.
remember we got the opportunity to open for Melissa Polinar, who I'm actually going to get to see
Oh my God,
with
yes.
Ernie Halter and Melissa are playing on my birthday in LA in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to go check that out. Um,
Amazing.
yeah, so but I remember we got to open for her and I was like, shoot, what do we do? And I remember because we did a couple of covers because that's all we had at the
Uh-huh.
time.
Hmm.
And I think I missed my mark. And then I just waited for it to come back again. And like nobody else probably noticed, but I did. I was like, oh shoot, I should have came in right there. But that was kind of our first performance together, I think, other than just hanging out with me and you and Cam at a party or something. And so God, that
Yeah.
was probably, you know,
God, she's such a good songwriter.
yeah.
Yeah, she was an inspiration too. I mean, just being able to
Oh
write,
yeah.
I
Shout out
would
to
like
Melissa.
look at, yeah, structures of songs and really try to like break it down and figure it out. But like for someone to say something witty but meaningful at the same time, like, oof.
Well, that, it didn't take the same commercial success that the songwriters of like the 70s had, right? So like you had people
Hmm.
like James Taylor or Jim Croce or Cat Stevens or some of these guys or Bread or even the Eagles. There was like some really good songwriting and really good vocals in the 70s that
Yeah.
really hasn't been matched since. And so, but there was this kind of cool scene of people like Tyrone Wells, people like Ernie Halter, people like Melissa Polinar, um,
Jeremy
Tony Luke,
Passion.
Tony Luca, who randomly was like in the Mickey Mouse Club and like disappeared for a long time and came back as this really cool songwriter and then ended up going and almost winning The Voice. It was crazy, but that whole scene in Hollywood, like late early 2000s, beginning of the 2010s, was some amazing artists. And so to all of a sudden be fans of them, and then we were like working with them, going on tour, at some of those shows we went to together in Southern California. I remember we got to see David Ryan Harris at Troubadour, and we were just
Oh my
like,
God.
oh my God. We were just like blown away by there's power in that because even now obviously we're playing a big festival this weekend which is super exciting, but
Hmm.
there's the lights and there's this all the different like the things that people can do to make the big sound, the distorted guitar and the full band. But when you're stripped down acoustic, that's to me like the most vulnerable. And so like if you can,
Totally.
if you have a 10-person band with horns and all this, it's awesome. But like you can kind of hide within that sound, right? But if it's just you and a guitar and your words, like that's
Hmm.
about as vulnerable and real as it gets. And so we were fortunate to be able to connect with and see a lot of these people up front. I know it had an impact on me and it definitely had an impact on you.
Hmm. Totally.
Yeah, so we and our friend Drea de la Cruz as well. She went on to American Idol as well, which is really cool. So some cool people and talent has come out of Salinas, and we've also had some pass through on tour, which has been awesome. I remember, you were in Hawaii and you were thinking, am I going to stay here? I miss California, and then the pandemic happened that kind of threw everybody's plans for a loop. But you were already kind of collaborating and recording with some friends here in California, with some friends in Hawaii. And what was the first track that you recorded?
What's worse?
What's worse?
Hmm.
And who was that with in Hawaii?
Ronson Shiigi was my producer. I was his first like song, and he was my first producer. We both just kind of grew. So shout out to Ronson. He's doing big things, and it was, it's hard to be vulnerable and like write with someone. Um, but like I learned a lot. I know he learned a lot, and we definitely made some magic. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
we wrote that whole EP, and then I was blessed to be able to come back home and record two of the songs with you guys
Hmm.
with Silver. So that was really fun.
And that was about 2021, right? When we did that,
Yeah,
I think it was
I
the
think
beginning of
so.
21. So we all
Yeah, because
kind
I
of
had
are like,
just come home. I had just
yeah,
come home from Hawaii.
we were all kind of
Hmm.
figuring out the pandemic. And I remember we did a Instagram live, and you were in Hawaii and I was in California, and I think everyone was still on lockdown in those days. And you also wrote a song about lockdown, didn't you?
I did. My song Paradise Elation. I literally wrote it that day before we got on that live. And
Wow.
it just like it was just one of those moments where like all the words just like flew out. It
Yeah.
flew out and I was like, wow, I wrote a song and you were like, well, let's hear it. And I was like, okay.
I think I have a recording of
And
that
now
live
it's
somewhere.
recorded.
Now that we're doing
Thank
it
you so
through
much.
Zoom and eventually in a studio, I've realized I was glad to have started it during the pandemic, but Instagram Live was not the best way if I wanted to record it for future use. So I learned every time I learn, I get a little bit better. Even with this
Yeah,
format now, I'm figuring out ways to tweak it and make it better for the next round. So I appreciate you interviewing with me then, and then especially appreciate you doing it now because I know it's a busy
of
week.
course. Oh my God,
So
yeah.
you came back, we recorded that EP, which was a great experience. And we started to get some momentum, started to do some shows. And shout out to Silver because he started booking shows when they still weren't quite allowed. So it
Yeah,
was a little bit punk rock. We're like, man, we haven't had live music in like 6 months. Like, so he happened to have a barn, and we just decided to join the bill, and we did a show. I want to say it was like the end of March of 21 out in Hollister, San Juan Batista somewhere.
yeah, I was in San Juan. Um, yeah, San Juan Beach. That was fun. That
Yeah.
was really fun. And, people came out and that it was just like our tight knit, like Salinas community.
Yep.
Did you miss? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's awesome, and that was kind of a not a testament to community and testament to the power of live music because um people really wanted missed it really wanted it really wanted something to bring people together and to celebrate. And there's nothing like a full band live music with the sound and the lights and the crowd. I mean, it's awesome. We before the pandemic, we happened to do a bunch of shows together, like a lot of coffee shops, and you, Cam, and I were doing
yeah.
different shows, or you would link up with other musicians, or sometimes just by yourself with the ukulele. And
Hmm.
so that was awesome. Then we started to do some really cool shows in San Francisco. How did that come about with the band with the park, the Golden Gate Park?
Tribe Divine. Tribe Divine. Okay. So San Francisco, I don't know if anybody's familiar with this, but during the pandemic, there's an app called Clubhouse.
Oh yes, that's
And
right. That's right.
I was heavily on Clubhouse because what else was I gonna do? And I went into all these music rooms, and you could just sing a song, play a song, sing a song, and then there were people there cheering you on,
It was like a
telling
digital open mic.
basically.
Yeah.
And like it became my family. I was on it like every night. Like there was like every campfire jams. I think it was what it was called. It was
Yes,
like every
that's right.
Monday
That's
or
right. That's
Wednesday.
right.
And I was like
That's where
on
we
that
met
all the
Pato
time.
Banton. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
Adam Swig, shout out to Adam,
Shout
he
out Adam.
ran that clubhouse and so he believed in me. He was just like, Renee, like you are so amazing, you're so talented. I want to help you out. He works in the promotion space and events, and he's really, really big in the community in San Francisco. So he linked me up with Stefan,
Yep.
who, if you ever meet Stefan, like, you'll
Stefan
hear his
Franz. Yeah.
story. He is like
What a
a
career that
huge
guy's had, huh?
what a life he has had
Yes.
and a life he has made. And so he's now in charge of the stage in the park in San Francisco. Gosh, what's that called?
Golden
What's the
Gate
stage
Park
called? It's in Golden Gate Park, but the stage is
called the
band
band
shell. It's
shell.
the band shell,
Band
and
shell.
it's
Yes.
this huge, beautiful stage that was created and then donated to the city. And the man who donated it was like, my one thing is that you can never charge
Mm,
for music here. It's always a free show for the
yeah.
community. And so I think it was 3 years in a row they had me for International Women's Month to
That's what it
perform.
was. Yep.
And it was like just so fun. Like everyone came out And, you know, I mean, the stage is amazing. What a beautiful
Mhm.
place to play and beautiful people that put it on.
It
So,
was cool. Yeah, it was cool for us to obviously the people that put it on were great, and it's cool for us to be able to open for some big names and get the practice of like full band, big stage.
hmm
And our friends
hmm
would come from Mendocino all the way down to the city, or our friends would come
yeah,
up from Salinas all the way to the city, and it was not easy to get to. If you know where the park is, it's kind of
no,
a maze to
what a
get there, and there's
journey.
no parking. But once we started playing, it was worth it, and it was awesome. So that was a great experience, and all of a sudden we started getting some more opportunities here and there. But it's hard. People don't talk about how hard it is to. It's one thing to be an artist. It's another thing to try to have a band, to try to record an album and write songs and have
Yeah.
a band and book gigs when you have, everyone's working and paying bills, and I mean we're dealing with that now even at this level.
Mhm.
So talk about that, like transitioning from, oh, it's just me and my journal and my ukulele, to like, oh, we're trying to do some shows and play some festivals, and I'm managing 5 or 6 people and their schedules and their egos and their wants and plans, and you're the only girl and there's a bunch of dudes. I mean, how did you balance all of that? Obviously having brothers
Well,
probably helped.
I grew up with two older brothers, so I am comfortable. I've got a lot of guy friends, you know, but God, I mean, it is hard, like trying to juggle all of our schedules. Thankfully, our egos aren't too big. I think that we mesh pretty well
Yeah.
as far as that goes, and we listen and we hear each other, especially since we've all been friends for so long.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, it's real. It's a real thing. Like I be working full time. I'm working 40 hours a week and trying to make this dream come true. But the beautiful thing that I have been provided with is bosses and people who support
Hmm.
this dream and who believe in it with me. And so I'm very, very thankful for that. But it's not easy. Like I'm tired and I wish I could do music full time and I plan on it in the future, but you
You
know,
will.
we gotta
You
pay
will.
bills
Step by
and
step.
this
Yeah,
is
and I
where
and
we're
I
at.
yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I think it takes collaborators that are also artists that also see the vision, and I think we all did from the beginning. And it was kind of
Mhm.
never about the money or never about um, status. It was just about the music and about the vibe, and we were fortunate to have a group that's been with us for a long time, our friends and our family that have supported us since day one, and in different forms. And it's
Yeah.
taken different forms, and sometimes we've been full time, sometimes we've been taking breaks, and there's different musicians have come and gone from the band, but the core has kind of stayed. And so the team that's assembled now has been pretty awesome. And it's people don't realize, like, we're spread across the state, sometimes different states. And so getting to practice before was really hard. So that's why we were kind of like, okay, well, let's just do what we know. And maybe we would have a practice right before, or, we never really quite felt prepared as we wanted to. But that's just because time didn't allow. But
hmm
now, once, it came that we were going to have a pretty busy and significant 2025, it was like, okay, we need to finalize who's going to do this, who's down, and who's ready to commit. And now that we've been doing that since the beginning of the year, you can really hear and feel the difference.
I'm so excited. Like I feel so confident in us. Yeah, I'm excited. I think we've all been putting in the work.
Yeah.
And what's even more exciting is that like everyone's been day ones, you
Yep.
know, like
Yep.
AJ played the drums on the track.
Yep.
You and Cam, obviously, we've been friends since I was 17.
Yep.
Connor's been with us from the beginning.
Yep.
Bruno is a newer addition, but he's down
Yep.
and you know, and he's there. And
Yep.
so, you know, we're all along for the ride. We're in it.
And talk about the importance. One of the other obviously big parts of it is having a partner, romantic partner that also believes in your dreams, right? Because sometimes that can make or break an artist's career. It really can. And I mean,
Yeah.
you can, from personal experience, from friends that you can see, it can make or break your career. And to now be in a partnership with someone who is just as crazy and just as weird and just as much of an artist, and who gets it and is really supportive, like, what difference has that made, having Drew as part of this journey now?
Oh my God, it's like like it's amazing. I mean, it's all the difference going from, you know, experiencing relationships where they're jealous or threatened by you know, putting yourself out there in that way
Right.
to now me being with Drew, who is just the most supportive and believes in me so much and is there and talking me up. He talks
Yeah.
me up so much. You know,
Yeah.
he has all these connections that he has created for us and for me. And like, I mean, I couldn't do it. I never wanted to do this
Right.
without a partner. I never wanted to share this. I never wanted to do it on my own. I always wanted to have someone there to like go with me and be there. And so I'm so happy. I'm very thankful that I do have him for that.
Yes, shout out to Joe. He's been amazing. And in a lot of ways, part of just as much part of the band as anyone else, and has helped. He's working behind the scenes and opening doors, and is also super creative himself. So it's been cool to kind of bring those worlds together. And he and I were friends
Yeah.
before, and you and I were friends before. So now to see it come together, it's been really cool. A really cool
Yeah.
thing that's taken it to the next level, because I think the stars finally lined up on all the levels. We had those serious conversations at the beginning of the year, and it was like, okay, we're going to do this. And the people that decided that, and now we're seeing the fruit. I mean, the response that we've been getting, the people that have been with us are seeing the difference. Some people are just seeing us for the first time and they don't know the difference. But our friends who've been with us a long time were like, dude, like after the Mose Alley show, people were like, we got to open for Third World a few months ago at Mose Alley. Talk about that. Um,
That was that was so fun. I mean, Cam and I cover a third world song. We for a while now, like
yeah,
I mean, it was amazing. I got to meet their stage manager who's been working with them for 20 years. I just love meeting these people and picking their brains and just, you know, being out there in the conversation. But Third World was awesome, and it's just always fun. Like I'm always looking at like the equipment. I'm always looking at
yeah.
like the movement and like, okay, what do they have like that maybe I need to start working for or towards. So
So we got to open for Third World. It's also been announced
mhm.
that later this summer and this fall, we're going to be opening for Big Mountain, which is pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
just checking off that reggae legend list.
Yes, OGs, like I'm so excited. These guys have been around and like I've been listening to their music and
Yep.
like, yeah, this is cool. Real
So
cool.
when it comes to California Roots Festival, I
Mhm.
remember, God, I think the first one ever was maybe in 2009 or 10. And I had joined the team shortly after that. And I remember the first year I just busted my ass and I did like I didn't even have the position, but after everything I did that weekend, I didn't sleep. I was driving all over the place. They're like, okay, this year, pick your own team. And I remember you were one of the first people I thought of. I was like, you want to join the team? You're like,
Yeah.
yes, put me in there. And I was like, I don't even know what the job's going to be, but we're in the game. We're helping out. We're behind the scenes. And I think it's going to be a great way for us to learn. And so that must have been, yeah, 2010, 11, 12, somewhere in there.
Well, I think it was 2012. I
And
think
I
so.
remember
Oh,
because
no, no, it was earlier because I did it twice. I've always did it twice
okay.
with
So then
them.
maybe it was
Hmm.
11 the first year that you helped, but all of a sudden we go from working at Planet Gemini and doing little open mics and karaoke and opening for acts when we
Yeah.
could, to also we're at Cali Roots. And it was like, okay, I'm like, all right, we're picking up this artist and we're getting to do this, do that. And I'm like, okay, I have a really weird request but important job for you and Laura. Like if you're down, if not, it's okay, I'll figure it out. But if you guys are down and you're like, what is it? I was like, well, 311, who's the headliner tonight, who was huge, in the late 90s to till now
Hmm.
with so many hits.
Yeah.
Um, they need somebody to take their laundry to the laundromat and do their laundry before they leave after their show. And of course, it was in a bag. It wasn't like you were touching their dirty laundry, but it was still, it was a process. And you
We
and Laura
did
were like,
311's laundry. Hmm.
Laura, like, we'll do it. And so Laura and Renee did 311's dirty laundry and took one for the team. And while we were just making the festival happen behind the scenes,
Oh,
and that was kind of my first big like, okay, Nays, she's solid, she's down for whatever. And that I wasn't testing you on purpose. It's just how it was. I was trying to tell my friends like, there's a difference between people are like, hey, can I get a ticket? Hey, can I get VIP? Versus like, hey, how can I help? Hey, what can I do? Because I was like, dude, I just got this amazing opportunity working with these great people. Like, we're getting paid to go to things that we would have paid to go to. That alone was
yeah.
cool. And then all of a sudden, we're getting to meet artists that we grew up listening to. So I was like, I'm
Uh-huh.
down for this. And then I was able to help recruit a few friends that were. And so I just remember that you and Laura doing 311's laundry. And now, fast forward,
Good
what
time.
is it? 13, 14 years later.
Ooh.
we had talked about one day we'll play Cali Roots. One day they'll be doing our laundry. And it came up, you know, through a few different channels. Obviously, we talked about it and made those connections that led to it. But I want to give a big shout out to our mutual friend Ehab, who really worked hard
Yeah.
behind the scenes, who's been the manager of the band for the last couple of years and really worked hard behind the scenes. I know Drew did as well to help connect with, you know, Dan and Amy and the Cali Roots team. But just talk about how it kind of came together, and once you kind of knew, oh man, this is happening, what was that feeling like?
I was at work and me and my coworkers started screaming. No, so God, well, it's Ehab. I mean, when I first met Ehab, we really connected and we complement each other in ways like, he's much more one way
Yeah,
than I am, and
balance,
I'm
yeah.
another way. There's a really good balance, and we have been meeting on Zoom once a week for it's 5 years now,
Yeah.
and we have been plotting and planning,
Yep.
and it's been hard. And obviously, I mean, now look at what's going on. But
Yeah.
um yeah, I mean, we were in Cali Roots so many times just dreaming of this moment. And last year, so 2 years ago, we got the opportunity to play the like unofficial pre-party
Yeah,
for Cali Roots.
we did
And
it 2 years
then
in a row. Yeah.
yeah, well, so we did the pre-party, and then last year we got invited to do the unofficial after party. And I remember saying, I'm like, all right, I did the pre-party, I did the after party. Like next up is Cali Roots, official
Yeah.
Cali Roots. And yeah, and now we're here.
And for those that don't know, for those that aren't, you know, from California or into the reggae scene, maybe you're listening to this somewhere else in the world, which actually people do. California Roots Festival was started in late 2000s. I want to say 2008, 2009. It's just kind of a music and arts festival celebrating kind of California island reggae culture. There's some people that are hardcore purists that don't support it because it's not fully, you know, roots or Jamaican, but there, you know, Reggae on the River was more for that crowd, or there used to be the Monterey Bay Reggae Fest. Cali Roots really was more of a Cali reggae or Hawaii reggae kind of, you know, obviously with some Jamaican influence as well. So it really took off because that was such a big part of California culture. So from about
Mm.
2008 until now,
What
it's
was
just
this
become this
year,
huge event.
26? Yeah, like the 26th year, I believe. I think last year was the
No,
25th.
no, no. It's got to
Yeah,
be no, no. It can't be 26. It's
yeah,
got to be
yeah.
maybe
I
16 or
think
17. Yeah. Yeah.
maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Well, it definitely started, you know, so maybe it's 16 or 17 years. Yeah. And then I think they took 1 year off for the pandemic. But regardless, we've been there, a part of it in one way or another over the last few years, which has been awesome. So now to get the opportunity through the hard work of everyone we mentioned, you know, behind the scenes, it's pretty cool for you to have that opportunity to showcase because we knew from when we first started, we knew you had the talent and the three of us together had the vibe, and then you add in these other guys and it was like, oh man, yeah, we got to step our game up, these guys are good. Like before
Yeah,
it was like, oh, we're messing around on our own, you know, and it was like not a big deal,
yeah.
but once
And
all of a
we're like,
sudden
oh,
better musicians came in the picture, it was like, oh shit, we better step it up, and
yeah,
we did, and
serious.
so it's good. I think when people have the right attitude and it helps raise the level of everyone's performance, you know. So
Yeah,
um, I think it's pretty amazing. It's a dream come true for all of us. But you know, you're leading the way. It's your face, it's your words, it's your music, and we're so happy to be supporting you. And I'm excited to see. I'm going to be really focused on what I got to do, but I'm excited to look over and see the look on your parents' face. And you know, they've been there since day one. I remember
I
when we were doing
know.
at the wine bar, and your
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
family would come to Zeph's, which is now Stoney's.
Oh, my whole family. Yeah,
Your
all
whole
my tias, everybody.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I know. Yeah,
So
my
it
family's amazing. They'll all be there
yeah.
to
And we've had
support.
awesome friends, you know, like that are going to be there as well. So many, too many to name, but so many that have supported us on all our random little gigs that we've done. You know, coffee shops or barns or after
Yeah,
parties at 4 in the morning or whatever it was. And
yeah,
now to finally get kind of stage that we're going to be able to really do that. And the Cali Root stage is a very special one. It's very unique, and a lot of amazing acts have played there. And now we get to add ourselves to that list. So that's pretty exciting. I mean, how does
I
that
am
feel?
so damn excited. Like, oh my God, like yes, this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been
And we
working for. Yeah,
we
I mean, I'm
just
a little nervous, of course,
yeah,
but
of
but
course.
I'm more excited. I'm way more excited.
So it sounds like Saturday is close to selling out. So if anyone was going to get a ticket, they should do that now. You can find Cali Roots online on social media or on their website. Um, we just got news today that they will be streaming the performances. So
Yeah,
hopefully ours will be streamed. We go on. What time do we go on?
12:15 on Saturday.
12:15 p.m. on Saturday on the Cali Root
Hmm.
stage.
Hmm.
Where can people find you and your new music? I know you just recorded a new single with Micah Brown
Hmm.
from Iration. And where can
Yep.
people find you or connect with you?
Well, you can find me at Estrella Music 831 on Instagram and Facebook. I'm on TikTok. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music. I mean, all the streaming platforms under Estrella. Type in Why Wait. That's the name of my EP, so you'll get all the sounds there. And yes, I did just record a new single. Micah produced it, which was really exciting. And, Drew and I drove down to LA to the Irishan recording studio and recorded down there. And that was just like, oh, such a fun experience. Um, so I'm really excited to share it. I'll probably start teasing it a little bit, but I got some work to do behind the scenes before I release it.
Well, it's taken you over 10 years to become an overnight success. All these people that
That's
are
what
going
they
to,
say.
yeah, all these people that are going to meet you on Saturday for the first time ever, they're not going to realize, what it took to get there. But that's part of the fun. That's exciting. And I'm super proud that, to be on this journey with you. And I know that there's so many others that feel the same way. And now that you've are achieving this dream, obviously we're opening for Legends, we're playing Cali Roots, incredible year so far. But what's next? What's the next goal now that we've been able to achieve this one? What's the next one?
I mean, I want to keep doing shows, but my main priority and want is to record more music. I mean, we have two more songs in our set that have not been recorded yet,
Yep.
so need to get into the studio and do that, write more songs, and then ultimately, I mean, my goal is to hop on a tour. I want to perform, like I'm a performer, like I want to be on stage, and so that would be the next goal.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Mhm.
so much for taking your time with me today. It's been an incredible decade plus of working together, and I'm excited to for this next chapter. I mean, it's exciting. It feels pretty surreal. So I'm excited. I hope you get
No.
to enjoy it and take it all in, and really that it's everything that you hoped it is. I'm just excited to be on this ride with you. I know Cam and the rest of the team feels the same way, and I'm excited to see what's next. So thank you for your time on this call today, and let's just let's just do the
Do
damn thing
the
on
damn
Saturday. Let's do the damn thing. All
thing.
right, Nate. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Jay.
Have a great
Love
night. We'll
you.
talk soon. Love you too.
All
Talk soon.
right.
Take care.
Bye.